Favi, welcome back to the show, my friend. You know, there is a nickname that people have given you that I wasn't even familiar with. People have been claiming that your nickname is Mr. League's Cup. Where the hell did that even come from?
Yeah, look, I'm pushing to be Leagues Cup commissioner one day. It's my second year working on the writing team for Leagues Cup, and I'm one of their biggest, I would say, backers. I think this tournament has a great opportunity to be something big in the United States. I've always felt like once MLS teams play Liga MX teams in real game situations, everybody wins, and I think that Leagues Cup is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, so the first Leagues Cup, the first iteration of it, right? 2023. A lot of people were excited because we were going to see this new tournament, nothing we'd ever seen before between two leagues. You had every single team from Liga MX versus every single team in Major League Soccer in a World Cup style format, right? And a lot of people were just curious to see what would happen. And then Inter Miami signed Lionel Messi in the summer. And so we had captured lightning in a bottle. We had Lionel Messi making his debut in this tournament we had never seen before against two leagues that hate each other. Big rivalry, right? The two leagues with the that are the most competitive, especially in this region, right? So we were able to see something we had never seen before in the first match Lionel Messi played in. He scored that game-winning free kick against Cruz Azul. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 30 subscribers away from hitting 8,000, and our goal is to hit that by the end of July. We only have a few more days to hit our goal. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Now, back to the video. And then they had this Cinderella story where they were the worst team in Major League Soccer and they were able to make an incredible run and win the Leagues Cup in 2023. And it just felt like that was going to be hard to ever top because that really is like that's like a Hollywood story. A lot of people were saying they thought it was rigged and stuff. But and then 2024, was kind of lackluster, man. We had the Euros 2024, we had Copa America. A lot of people were just kind of had a little bit of soccer fatigue because they'd been watching ball the whole entire summer. They hadn't gotten a break. Messi wasn't playing in this tournament. I think Luis Suarez might have played. I'm not 100% sure if he did. I don't think he played very well. So it was just very lackluster. It was almost like if the big players aren't going to play, why should I watch this tournament? But 2025 feels like it could be a little different. What are some okay, so I'm going to give mine, but I want you to give me yours first. What are some things you're excited about in 2025 that's a little bit different?
Yeah, look, I feel like every year Leagues Cup comes around, there's changes that make it for the better, right? From year one to year two, we had the travel hubs and the destination hubs, so we have less travel for Liga MX teams, and then this year we're gonna see, the same amount of teams from Liga MX go up against the same amount of teams in MLS, and then we're gonna get those games where it's Liga MX versus MLS only. We're not gonna see the games where last year was the infamous pictures of the DC United Atlanta United game with 3,000 people in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But we're gonna get interleague matchups, and that's what everybody wants. We're gonna get Tigres versus LAFC. We're gonna get Houston versus Club América. We're gonna get these interleague matchups that everybody wants to see. That's gonna sell out more stadiums, and it's gonna be fresh and inviting this summer. This summer, we don't really have to worry about it too much. We had the Club World Cup, yes. We had, I feel like we had the Gold Cup as well. But I think people are more excited for Leagues Cup this year around because maybe the Euros and Copa America was a stressful time for a lot of fans. But this time around, it kind of seems like the regular season is just chugging along, and this might be a new exciting moment for MLS and Liga MX soccer.
Well, one thing that I'm excited about myself is that some of these players I mentioned earlier, like Messi made his debut for Inter Miami in 2023 in Leagues Cup, right? Well, Rodrigo De Paul just signed with Inter Miami, which is one of the biggest signings in MLS history. He's going to make his MLS debut or Inter Miami debut, I should say, in Leagues Cup. First time we're ever going to see him put on the pink kit is going to be in this tournament. There's going to be other players that sign, possibly Son with LAFC if they can get that done with Tottenham. He might be making his LAFC debut against whoever they're playing in this tournament. And then Denny Bwanga has been heavily linked with Club America. If he makes a move, he will likely make his debut against MLS teams playing for Liga MX club in this tournament. So I think because there's all these players, Favi, who are looking like they're going to make the jump to either one of these leagues in 2025, it makes it more interesting, man, because there's names that are that people recognize. And we were talking about this before we got on here. You were talking about Sergio Ramos making his he played in the MLS All-Star game against for Liga MX, but this is different. He's playing for his club. 3 Champions Cup spots on the line. He's a big name. Who was the other one you mentioned? Was it
James Rodriguez, Ángel Correa? These are guys who I think make the difference for Liga MX this League's Cup, because to be honest, in my opinion, I always felt like Liga MX teams were good. They were just missing that star power to kind of make those teams go to the next level. I felt like they had great continental stars, but now with James, Sergio Ramos, Correa, they're gonna have great international kind of stars. So I'm excited to see Liga MX teams possibly get over the hump this season with all those guys in the fold now.
Yeah, and also too, I think one thing that is cool about this tournament or the new format, which you and I had to learn ourselves, it wasn't really explained the best of ways. But one of the cool things is that we're going to have 18 versus 18. The 18 best Liga MX teams, which there is only 18, but 18 MLS teams rather than having 30 versus 18.
Right.
It's not really fair when you have 12 more hits or swings. You're obviously going to have a better chance of getting through or winning this League's Cup. So now it's 18 versus 18. I think Liga MX has their best chance of the last 3 years to win this now, because it's on a even playing field, at least as far as teams. I like that because I feel like Liga MX potentially winning this would give this tournament more legitimacy, and it wouldn't just be like what some people will say is a pity tournament to get MLS more spots in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, because that's what it's been the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, no Liga MX team has really been able to be even in a final, right? So
yeah,
it's interesting because I think they're adding a lot more legitimacy to this tournament every single year. Another change that's going to come is if, let's say, because there's not teams in this tournament, if a Liga MX team is seated higher than the MLS team and they need a neutral ground stadium, the Quake Stadium is going to be used in the quarterfinals. It's a stadium that it's not going to have a home team because the Quakes aren't in it. So it's actually pretty interesting. Another way to kind of level the playing ground for these Liga MX teams is to have neutral stadiums. And that's exactly one of them. I'm most excited to kind of see this tournament one day be in Mexico to add some more legitimacy to it. But for now, these changes are all welcomed. I mean, I'm always down for making it fair for both leagues. And in year 2, they really changed it with the hubs. I mean, they made it so that the Mexican teams weren't traveling as much as possible to keep it kind of, within their kind of means of travel. So it's not too crazy of a
certain area.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but we were talking a little earlier that the teams are going to be playing regular season games after the group stage of the League's Cup. So it's not going to be that big of a break for these MLS teams or Liga MX teams for this tournament, which is, I think, a thing that was necessary. I don't think a whole month off for this tournament was necessary, but it's going to be exciting.
Well, I think that the I won't even call it the group stage. I guess it's more like the seeding stage is what I guess they're calling it. That's going to be a 2-week break, I think, for both leagues, Liga MX and MLS. And then they're going to go back to regular season games while this is going on. But I think that they are going to say a certain team is playing, but if they have a League's Cup match, then they'll probably just reschedule it. I doubt that they're going to have to play in Texas on Tuesday, Liga MX team, and they're going to have to go back to Monterrey on Saturday, and then have to come back again. I think that they'll probably just delay or reschedule their matches if they make it that far, which is good because that wouldn't be fair. I mean, how are you expected in 1 week to go from Monterrey to Texas, back to Monterrey, back to Texas? Like, that's just way too much travel. It's not fair for anyone. And you obviously want this tournament to be as fair as possible if you want to take it seriously. And that's always been one of my biggest criticisms.
And then it's going to be 36 teams down to 8, right? So there's really not going to be many teams that are still in League's Cup after the seeding stage, right? Like, this is going to be a very fast-paced tournament, in my opinion. And I think the whole strategy is different this year because you can't really tie games if you want to guarantee you going through.
Yes. So I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be cool. There's going to be some big names. It's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be oversaturated with too many teams, 36 teams. Cool format, which I want to go ahead and get into that. It took us a little bit to understand this, like I said. So essentially, what's going to happen is we are going to get MLS teams facing only Liga MX teams in the seeding phase, and Liga MX teams only facing MLS teams in the seeding phase. So we're not going to get any BS Atlanta United versus DC United or Vancouver Whitecaps versus LAFC. That's not going to happen. It's going to be only Liga MX versus only MLS. Just for example, just want to give you guys just to show you like how it's going to work. Toluca is the number one seed in the Eastern Pot 1. They are going to play the Crew, New York City FC, Montreal. And then all those MLS teams each are going to play Toluca, Leon, and Puebla. So there is not going to be a single MLS versus MLS or Liga MX versus Liga MX match in the seeding phase. And then the way it works, after all these teams play in their respective groups, right? The top 4 teams from each league, doesn't matter like how they if 2 teams in the same group had the same amount of points. It's just whoever finishes the highest in the entire thing. The top 4 seeded teams are highest with the top 4 MLS teams the most points, and the top 4 Liga MX teams the most points will advance to the knockout stage or the quarterfinals. That's how it works. So they're going to take the top 4 MLS teams versus the top 4 Liga MX teams.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And you're going to see group of deaths happen, right? Like, for example, the Western one, you have San Diego FC being a tier 3 team, technically, but they're at the top of the West, right? Of MLS regular season standings. So that's going to be difficult for those Mexican teams for sure. Because then, I mean, the Galaxy are tier 1. You might actually see the Galaxy have a familiar face return to their lineup because we saw Ricky Puig be added on the roster for Leagues Cup. But we'll see. You're right. Let's see if that's the group of death for those Mexican teams.
Okay, so we're going to give they have a bracket challenge. The way it's going to work is Favi's going to pick 2 Liga MX teams. I'm going to pick 2 Liga MX teams, and then do the same thing for MLS for this bracket challenge, is to say who we think is going to advance to the next round. Okay, and then I think we can even do our knockout rounds if we want to, which is kind of cool, right? So let me go ahead and switch to that. Okay, I'm gonna let you go first, Favi. Who is the first Liga MX team you think is going to advance and have the most points in the seeding phase?
Yeah, look, I'm raving about teams that have a superstar in Liga MX because Liga MX, those teams have always had great talent. They've always had bigger salaries. They've always had great overall players. But when you have a superstar like Sergio Ramos, when you have a superstar like James Rodriguez, that's a different level of a player when it becomes a tournament like this. So I have to shout out Monterrey. I feel like they're going to be one of the teams that go into the next round because with Sergio Ramos leading that back line, what they did in the Club World Cup, I feel like they're just at the right moment and the right time to kind of make a run in Leagues Cup. And they brought in Sergio Ramos for this exact reason.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that I would have to put Club America. I know that they didn't win they won I always get them confused. I think they won the Clausura and the Apertura as the second part of the season. I
Yeah.
think they won the Clausura. They didn't win the Apertura, but I think that they're the best complete team in Liga MX. I think Zendejas is an absolute baller. Was very upset that he didn't get a call up into the U.S. men's national team. I think Club America is a heavyweight, man, and I think that they are a team that's built for something like this because I think as long as they can get to the final 8, the quarterfinals, I think that they can make a serious run and win the whole thing. And I think they have the best manager in Liga MX, a guy that's been rumored to maybe make a move to MLS. I don't know if you saw that recently.
Yeah.
He said that it was the Brazilian. I forgot his name. Is it Jarin? I think I forgot
Oh,
his last name.
Yeah, Hardin.
Hardin. That's right. Yes. So I have Club America as my first team. I expect to advance to the round of 8 or the round of 8.
And then, yeah, for my second team, I'm going to go with Cruz Azul. You know, the CONCACAF Champions Cup winner. They dismantled the Vancouver Whitecaps. Vancouver's not in this tournament because they got subbed out for San Diego. But man, oh man, did Cruz Azul make Vancouver look like they were Bambi deer in the headlights because the Cruz Azul can turn it on. Matias Bogusz is a killer for them. So yeah, 100%. I think they're going to be into the next round.
Yeah, I think my last team is going to be Tigres. And the reason I say that is because they added Angel Correa. I think that this is a team that always plays well in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They knocked off Cincinnati in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They knocked off the LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy obviously weren't as good, but they are just maybe they don't perform as well in Liga MX, the Clausura, or the Apertura. But in tournaments like these, I feel like they always play really well and they have knockout power. Now, Gignac, I don't know how much he has left in the tank. He's like almost 40 years old, right? But I think that Angel Correa is going to be the new guy. He's going to take over the mantle as the guy at Tigres. So
And and these four are going in, right? But you're still leaving out good Liga MX teams like the Luca.
yes.
They just won with Alexis Vega. They just beat América in their matchup for Campeones de Clubes, or no, excuse me, Campeones Cup. You're missing out on Leon advancing with James Rodriguez, right? This is a tough advancement for any Liga MX team. And you know what? Pumas with Keylor Navas, right? We forgot about Pumas
Yes.
getting Keylor Navas. These are players that are all going to make a difference, and it's going to be so hard to advance.
Okay, let's move over to our we'll move over to our MLS teams. I'll let you go first on this one. Who's your first MLS team that's going to advance? And by the way, let me mention this as well. The Vancouver Whitecaps were originally supposed to be in this, but they were replaced by San Diego FC. So if anyone's wondering how does an expansion team, if it's supposed to be the top 18 teams in Major League Soccer from 2024, how is San Diego FC in this tournament? That is why. And thank God they are, because they're the best team in the Western Conference. But go ahead. Who's your first team in the MLS bracket?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the easy one. I'm going to go with the best team in the Eastern Conference. They recently had an MLS All-Star. One of their guys is in the MVP race.
Montreal?
So they had two MLS All-Stars, actually. It's going to be Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is going to, be a buzzsaw for a lot of these Liga MX teams. I think Evander is one of the best players in the region and North America completely. I think Evander is going to steal the show for Cincinnati. And man, oh man, I think they're going to be ready to, turn some heads, especially in Mexico with the talent that they have.
Okay, I'm going to go with the easy one. I'm going to go with Inter Miami at number 2, or my first pick. Let's be honest, Messi does well in this tournament. He's the first one to ever win this tournament. They added Rodrigo de Paul. There's rumors they might add Facundo Pellistri from a
Who I wanted to see in MLS in any capacity, but of course it has to be Inter Miami to get him, because Facundo Pellistri has been on the LA Galaxy radar for about 4 years. And I know this because I cover the Uruguayan national team. I'm Uruguayan. So Pellistri has always been a player that's been linked to MLS. It'd be insane if Miami got him.
That's the rumors. They might get him and I think Bartra, the center back. So I think this team is building something special to make a Leagues Cup run. Would have loved to see this for the Club World Cup, but they're doing it for Leagues Cup. Hey, I guess it's better late than never. But they added Rodrigo de Paul. They're going to add possibly Facundo Pellistri or whatever he prefers, and then some center back health. And I think that they're obviously the most dangerous team in MLS because of who they have at number 10. That's my number 1 pick. Who is your second pick for MLS, Favi?
Yeah, before I want to add this to it. Basically, the roster came out for Inter Miami, showing that Rodrigo de Paul wasn't on the roster. But from my sources at Leagues Cup, I found out that you can switch out 3 names on the roster. Yeah. You can substitute. So whoever thinks that, how are they going to add Rodrigo de Paul? There actually is a rule where they can add up to 3 people or change out 3 people if they need to. So imagine if the Inter Miami changes 3 for Rodrigo de Paul, Pellistri, and Batra, right? That'd be crazy. But yeah, my other team, I'm wearing this hat for a reason. I think the LA Galaxy shocked the world by putting Ricky Puig on their roster for Leagues Cup. I think if they find a way to get Ricky healthy enough to play in some sort of manner, and Ricky is excited to be back. I mean, the guy's training, the guy's in social media content, ready to, he's already talking smack about LAFC. He's already back in Ricky form. I think Ricky could shock some people. And the Galaxy
is he for sure playing? Is he for sure playing this tournament?
Who knows? He can play. He's on the roster. If he wasn't going to play at all in the group stages, in my opinion, they wouldn't even have him on the roster. But I just think if he can make a return to Leagues Cup, the Galaxy have nothing to play for in the regular season. This is a way they can qualify for Champions Cup. they might be the dark horse of this tournament. And I think Ricky being back and possibly Painsul and Peck getting back into form with Ricky there. It's unfortunate that their game got rained out versus Houston this last weekend, because maybe, who knows, we could have saw Ricky possibly get on the pitch before Leagues Cup. But I think it might be possible that Ricky makes a debut because he's on the roster. So I'm excited for the Galaxy if he can be on the field.
Okay, so I thought you were going to go a different direction than that. I'm going to pick San Diego as my fourth team because they're the best team in the Western Conference. Anders Dreyer is the most underrated player in Major League Soccer that most people have not heard of. He has like 13 goals and 16 assists this year for San Diego FC. He has been the linchpin, the engine for that team, the only reason that they've been competitive. And they also got Chucky Lozano, who's starting to come into form as well, or playing very well. And obviously, I think he might have a chip on the shoulder playing against Liga MX teams, right?
Yeah.
So I think that San Diego would probably be my fourth team. I just think that they've been an incredible story in Major League Soccer in 2025. But, honestly, Fabi, the team I thought you were going to pick, is I have to mention this real quick, right? Because MLS is our expertise. I thought you were going to mention Columbus, because Columbus has been playing very well, and they just signed a $9 million striker in Wassam Abu Ali from Al Ali of the Egyptian League.
Yeah.
And the guy has 28 goals and 36 appearances. Columbus has been balling out without a true number 9. They got their lethal striker, their Cucho Hernandez replacement, and they have Diego Rossi, who I think is another guy who's very underrated in Major League Soccer. If it were me, this is how we're doing it 2-2. But if it were me, I would have put Columbus in here because I think that guy could be something special.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this about San Diego. I think their back line's a little too weak for Liga MX play. I think they're going to get exposed by Liga MX, to be honest, because their back line is basically makeshift right now. And they've been getting away with it because of their firepower up front with Dreyer and Chucky Lozano. But yeah, Columbus has been a little bit inconsistent. My whole worry about them is are they going to be able to get Wessam
Wassam Abu Ali.
Wessam Abu Ali to get his way and to kind of get up to the fold, with
integrate into the team. Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about them with that, but yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. You got to win basically 3 games. To really confirm that you're gonna be in the next round. You have to win 3 games, excuse me, because if you win on penalties, I think a lot of people are gonna win on penalties.
Okay. So this is our knockout round. Okay. Cincy, Tigres, Miami, Cruz Azul. Now, I want to give each one of our predictions to see, if we agree on this, because this is the final 8. Who we picked, our 8 teams, right? 4-4.
These games, if they were true, would be mega showdowns. Like, look at these matchups.
I agree. So let's start off with it. Cincinnati versus Tigres. This is 2 teams that played in CONCACAF Champions Cup. I personally think Cincinnati wants some revenge if they play this game, because they should have. I think that the way Tigres was playing at that time, Cincinnati should have gotten a result, and they probably should have advanced, but they didn't. So, who do you have in the first round, or excuse me, the first matchup of the quarterfinals? Tigres versus Cincinnati.
Yeah, without Kevin Denke, it's going to be tough. But if he can get healthy and since he can get him, running, I think they're going to have a good chance to win the whole thing. So yeah, definitely, I put Cincinnati over Tigres, like you're thinking too.
Okay, now this is another tough one. We have Cruz Azul, the CONCACAF Champions Cup 2025 winners, versus the new, I don't want to say refurbished, but revamped Inter Miami. Right? Who wins this match, Robbie?
I think it's Miami. I don't think Miami is going to lose before the final or a semifinal in Leagues Cup.
I agree.
Yeah, I think with Rodrigo de Paul, they're going to look like a brand new team, to be honest.
Okay, so now we get to Monterrey, Sergio Ramos's team, versus San Diego FC, the new kids on the block, Anders Dreyer. I think this is where we see Liga MX get one. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Monterrey prevails and they get to the semifinals and they beat San Diego FC.
I agree. I think Monterrey is going to have too much experience. Betarame is going to do what he does. And then Sergio Ramos is going to get that team into the semifinals for sure.
And then we have Club América versus the most historic team in MLS history, LA Galaxy. I mentioned this to you before when we were doing the MLS top 4. I just think the Galaxy have an uphill battle. I don't think they've been playing well this year. It is very difficult to come back from an ACL tear within a year because you have to get reacclimated, you have to get your confidence back. It's a whole process, and I just don't think we're going to see the best Ricky Puig until 2026. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle. I think Club America is going to win this game.
Yeah, I definitely think Club America is going to be in a semifinal. And then if that works out the way it works out, we're finally going to have an MLS Liga MX final.
Well, here's the great news. You ready for this? This is the great news. Cincinnati versus Miami. Bobby, who just recently got suspended in the most recent Cincinnati-Miami game?
Yeah, Lionel Messi.
Lionel Messi, right? So
And
to
Jordi Alba.
draw, they lost the previous match. Was it 3-0, I think? Lost
Yeah.
the previous match 3-0. This one this past weekend was 0-0. It was a draw. I think Miami's coming for blood. I think that they have revenge on their mind because some of we saw some of the posts, some of the Cincinnati fans were cheering and happy about Messi being suspended, rightfully so, right? I mean, they're not wanting him to play. They want to win, and I don't blame them. Like they want to see a week in Miami to get the 3 points.
Right.
But I think Miami is going to have revenge on their mind because this is going to be the first game that Messi plays against Cincinnati since the suspension. He just gets us a chance to redeem himself. I personally have Miami winning this.
Yeah, I think Miami doesn't fall. If they do fall, it has to be in the final.
Okay. So this is another one. Monterrey versus Club América. I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I think Monterrey showed in the Club World Cup they're very capable of beating world-class teams. I think in this type of tournament and this style of bracket, I think Sergio Ramos and Monterrey are just the favorite by far. So I think we're definitely going to see Miami and Monterrey somewhere near the final. But in this bracket challenge, I think Monterrey wins here.
I agree. I don't know. I had this feeling we were going to see another Messi Ramos showdown that we saw for over a decade in El Clasico, right? Bertarame is just a lethal striker. I was hoping an MLS team would go for him.
Right.
There were some that was interested, but the price tag was too much. I think they were wanting like 15 to 20 million for him.
Right.
So they couldn't get something worked out. But I think this is going to be a game, but I think I have Monterrey as well. So I think it's going to be Miami versus Monterrey for the Leagues Cup 2025 final. And before we get into that, I just want to say this. This is the final. This is going to be huge.
Yeah, this would
huge.
Be a success, raging success, if this was the final for Leagues Cup.
Hey, bigger. Listen, I'm going to make this proclamation. Bigger than the CONCACAF Champions Cup final viewership wise.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Because, no offense, but, Cruz Azul has a fan base, but Vancouver is not the biggest fan base in Major League Soccer. And, the promotion probably wasn't as good. I think they'll promote this very well. This is a dream scenario for Liga MX and MLS.
Definitely.
Miami versus Monterrey for the final. Bobby, who wins this final?
I don't know. By then, Miami might have even more reinforcements, and I think Miami is just going to be so tough to beat. I'm going to say Inter Miami is going to lift the trophy at the end of this. And Suarez rides off in the sunset.
This is a tough one. I think Miami lose it. I think that Sergio Ramos wins the game in penalties.
Oh, okay.
That's me. Okay. So we won't pick a winner because we don't agree. This is like the first one we don't agree on.
Yeah.
But I listen, I don't want an MLS team to lose. But I just think that this is the year, man. I think this is the year. I think this is the year Liga MX wins it, which would be good for the tournament, right? This is good. And even if Miami makes it to the second place, they're still guaranteed a CONCACAF Champions Cup final spot. The top 3 teams make it. Okay.
And that's why the third place game is an important one.
The third place game is an important one. And I think Club América is going to play. I think Club América is going to win that game against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I think two of the 3 are going to be Liga MX this year.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. What do you think? You think Cincinnati's going to win?
If Cincinnati makes it, I think this is a great opportunity for them to qualify for Champions Cup without having to worry about the playoffs and raising up MLS Cup and I don't know. I think Club América, might be able to qualify somewhere else. maybe this is the year that Club América finally takes it seriously, but I don't think they're as strong as they were in the past. I think I don't know. I think you have a good point with 2 of the 3 teams being from Liga MX this year. That's a good thought because they're out for blood. But I just think Cincinnati is possibly one of the best teams in the region right now. So I would have them kind of being the winner of the 3rd place game.
Well, Favi, we predicted our Leagues Cup bracket together, pretty much in sync with our beliefs. We broke down what we're excited for. I'd love to know what you guys are excited for with this 2025 Leagues Cup. Now, look, some of you guys are going to be a little sour about it because obviously last year was a stinker. It wasn't good. But I promise you 2025 will be more entertaining. I've been as critical of this tournament as anyone else. You know this if you follow me on X. But I think that this one's going to be a little different because the format's different. There's not going to be any filler games with pointless MLS teams playing. It's going to be Liga MX versus MLS all the way through.
And the big teams, the good teams have to win. Like there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Like Messi can't tie his way to the second round.
Every game matters.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's the top 4 guys. It's the top 4 teams from each league that are going to make it. The 4 MLS teams, the highest points, and the 4 Liga MX teams, the highest points, are the ones that are going to make it to this quarterfinals that me and Favi just did. That's who makes it. Every game matters.
And to be honest, if you lose, like in regulation, I think you're out of it, man. Like I actually think you're out of it, which is shocking.
No, I agree. So we'll see what happens. Let us know down below what you think. Is Inter Miami going to win it? Is Cincinnati going to win it? Is Club América, Monterrey? Let us know down below. And also let us know, what are you most excited to see? Also, make sure you like this video down below. If you haven't already, follow my good friend Fabian Rankel on X. Not Threads, though. Just kidding. If you want to, you can. Follow him on X because he's going to have all the coverage for this tournament as well as I will. It should be fun. We'll probably have him back on for a watch along or maybe a crazy game post-game recap. So make sure you follow him on X. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. 30 subscribers away from 8K. Let's hit 8K before the end of July. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little bell notification so you never miss a video. And Favi, anything you got to say before we head out of here?
I'm excited, man. Every game counts, like you said. And this is the first time I really feel like every game counts for a tournament with MLS teams. So this is going to be a fun one.
Can't wait to see what happens, my friend. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.